And volleyball, also the focus of our big stat. We have certainly discussed the record-breaking crowd a few weeks ago in Lincoln when Nebraska and Omaha played in front of more than 92,000. But another record was set last week. Wisconsin and Marquette drew more than 17,000 fans in Milwaukee, the largest crowd ever to see an indoor women's volleyball match in the U.S. And one of the Badgers' biggest stars, Temi Thomas-Ailara, is today's big interview. She joins us now from Madison. And Temi, let's start there. You played in front of a huge crowd in Milwaukee. You played in front of some really big crowds now in your time at Wisconsin. What's that like to have that kind of fan support?
Yeah, it's super exciting. It was a really cool environment, both in Florida and at the Pfizer in Milwaukee. It's really cool to have all of those fans cheering for you, and even against you, just being in those loud environments, playing a team, and enjoying the energy of the crowd.
Your team is 9-0. You're ranked #1 in the country. How would you assess the season to this point?
It's been going really well. I think one of the biggest things we say is that as this season's team hasn't won anything yet, so we're still ready to grind and work hard and go through big times, playing as well as we can.
Is this weird for you, Temi? I mean, you are teammates. We should preface this. I think probably people who follow volleyball know, but you played 4 years at Northwestern. You graduated from there, and then you transferred in the conference to Wisconsin. So these are people that you played against your entire career. And now they're your teammates. Is that weird for you?
It definitely was when I was thinking about transferring here and coming on visits. But once I got here, I was like, okay, this is where I am. These are my teammates now. It's really cool seeing their personalities on the same side of the net. Definitely different than I thought they were when I was playing against them at Northwestern. But I really like them a lot, and they've become some of my really good friends.
As we said, this team is playing really well. You mentioned the match against Florida over the weekend. #3 team in the country. You went down there. You guys went down 2-0 and rallied and came back to win. What did you learn about those teammates and perhaps about yourself in that match?
I think we just learned that we can keep pushing and keep going through adversity. Like going down 0-2 is definitely very hard, but I think throughout the match, we just stayed calm and we knew that our time was coming to kind of push forward and keep fighting for a win.
You were really the focal point of your team at Northwestern. It is less so at Wisconsin just because there are more really good players around you. That's why you're ranked #1 in the country. How different is that for you to not necessarily be the focal point, particularly of the offense?
Yeah, it's very different, but I think it's really cool to see how easily our setters can spread out our offense and how you can get everyone going at the same time. And it really makes it a tough time for the blockers on the other side of the net when we're in system, firing across everything, all cylinders. It stresses them out, and it's really cool to see.
So you are going to play against Northwestern tomorrow. The match is in Evanston. What are your emotions as you prepare to face your former teammates?
I'm excited. I think it'll be fun to play in Welsh Ryan Arena again, in the Cardinal and white. But I'm excited to see everyone, see my old teammates, coaches, the fans. I know Northwestern has come a long way with like having students in the gym for matches, and I'm just excited to see how the atmosphere has grown and changed since I left.
I want to talk a little bit more about you. You have a really fascinating background. Your parents came from Nigeria to the U.S. You were raised in both cultures. What are some things that Americans may not know about the Nigerian culture that you would want them to know?
I think not many people have tried Nigerian food probably, so I'm going to plug Nigerian food and say that everyone should try it. Some of my favorite foods are egusi soup and iyo or fufu. Egusi soup is like a stew with spinach and blended up bell pepper, and then it's seasoned, and then you dip in the fufu, which is pounded yam, but it kind of has a mashed potato texture to it. So you like pick the fufu up, you dip it in the egusi soup, and then you eat it. And then like jollof rice, which is seasoned rice, basically.
Tell me a little bit about getting access to that culture in college, right? I mean, it was such a big part of how you were raised, and your parents, I know, made sure that you had those foods and that you were raised both in, the environment of the United States, but also that you had a taste, literally and figuratively, of Nigeria. How big a challenge has it been to kind of keep that up while you've been in college?
It was definitely hard, especially when I was in the dorms, because I didn't have a kitchen to myself. But my parents were really good, especially since I'm still pretty close to home, and I was close to home when I was in Evanston. They brought up a lot of Nigerian food throughout my time. I found some Nigerian restaurants that I could go to, and kind of kept in touch with my culture.
I know you majored in biomedical engineering at Northwestern, which sounds really easy, by the way. I'm sure you coasted through that. But what do you want to do in the medical field? Like, give us a sense of what part of biomedical engineering interests you.
So I don't think I want to be an engineer anymore. I'm more interested in healthcare administration, on the healthcare administration side of medicine. And basically what that is kind of managing over a hospital with their finances and kind of the technology that they're investing in over time. I kind of want to help people be able to afford healthcare on a smaller scale or a larger scale, kind of wherever I can get my foot in the door. Because I found that in engineering, I was super interested in prosthetics, but I found out that not many people can afford it, and it's not really covered by healthcare insurance either. So it kind of didn't make sense for me to invest my time into something that the people that need it can't really afford.
I know that your parents are both involved in healthcare. They're both nurses. To what extent did that influence your interest?
I think a pretty big extent. Just kind of seeing them going into the hospital, especially during COVID. They were helping so many people. They always have been, but also seeing how hard it was on them and hearing some of the stories about people that didn't enter the hospital as early as they could have because they were scared of the healthcare bills piling up from the length of their stay, and then ending up going into the hospital sicker than they would have if they had gone earlier. I think that was a really big turn for me to go more into the healthcare administration side versus the engineering side.
Well, it's a noble pursuit, really well articulated there. I want to ask you a volleyball question as we finish up here. I would argue there is probably no one more qualified than you to answer this question. So, as you prepare for your match tomorrow, give me a scouting report on Northwestern.
They run a pretty fast offense, as they have for the past couple years. And they're pretty energetic. They're ready to attack. They like to swing at most of the balls and put pressure on the defense to get it back up and go again. I think we're going to have to spend some good time in serve and pass and just make sure that we're in system as much as we can to put pressure on the block and defense, and just be ready for them to run that fast offense back at us.
Temi Thomas-Ailara, congratulations on all of your successes, both on and off the court. Best of luck in that match tomorrow against Northwestern and the rest of the way. And thanks for spending some time with us. Really fascinating to visit with you.
Thank you.
You can see the Badgers' next two matches on Big Ten Plus. Big Ten Plus delivers access to thousands of non-televised live events. Next day, on-demand game replays, multi-view to watch up to 4 games at once, and your favorite school's 24/7 channel. There is no plus like home. Subscribe and stream for as low as $9.95 a month at BigTenPlus.com.